Hi guys! So ang vlog na ito ay tungkol sa mga vlogs ng GAS-12 or General Academic Strand tungkol sa kanilang pagpaparehistro bilang registered voter ngayong 2022 national elections. So tinanong ko sila, ano nga ba ang mga criteria or characteristics na meron dapat ang isang public servant? At ano yung mga experience or yung mga feelings nila bilang first-time voters? At eto ang kanilang mga sagot.
Election is fast approaching and this is one of my dreams, to cast my vote. As a first-time voters, I should be careful in choosing the best servant that fits in the position because it will affect my future as well as the constituents. And this is the proof that I am a certified voters in Sariaya.
So when I was young, I always asked people around me where I need to vote, where I need to be a voter, or how does being a voter help our country. But eventually, as I grow up and become more active to reality, I better understand why do we need to be a good voter. And that's the time that I thought that voting was really important. The law doesn't require citizens to vote, but voting is very important in any process of democracy. The citizens vote for leaders to represent them, while leaders support the citizens' interest rather.
I am now a registered voter since February 16 in the municipal of Sariaya.
June 27, 2021, Monday, we went to municipality together with my friends.
Pagdating namin sa munisipyo, we were lined up and of course, most important is we wore face mask and face shield. They give me a paper which is this health declaration form. So, we fill up and then
Bibigyan ka din nila ng other form at kukunin ang pangalan mo. Tapos, ako kasi ay nakapagparehistro ng SK para sa SK election last 2016. So, kinuha na lang nila yung pangalan ko at tiningnan sa record kung nakaboto ako nung SK election. So, tanda ko noon na hindi ako nakaboto. Kaya medyo may doubt kung dediretso na ba yung pangalan ko sa regular voters. So, naghintay kami ng mga, I think it's 15 minutes para makausap uli kami ng staff. Lumabas yung parang coordinator ng COMELEC. As pumunta siya sa amin at kinausap kami na ako daw po ay diretso na as a regular voters.
I am a registered voter for Sangguniang Kabataan when I was grade 11 or 10 in Barangay Hall in Castañas. May pinilapan kaming form. Ito yung katunayan na pwede ka nang bumoto. June 23, I went to Comelec and there I was interviewed if I had already voted last year. And if we cannot vote this year, mada-deactivate daw yun.
First question. What characteristics should a public servant have? A public servant should prioritize growth and well-being of the individual and their community. However, a public servant should have many qualities that are needed for public services, which are being mindful and caring or have a personal presentation, punctuality, time management, reliability, composure, attitude, and performance.
The characteristic that a public servant should have must include responsibility, respect, and to maintain the trust of our people. Responsibility is also one of the most characteristic that a public servant should maintain. With all the duties that they have to accomplish, like meeting every day, spending a lot of time to help to build a better community, a public servant has to be responsible for the time that they are given. As a public servant, they are required to be respectful to their people. Respect is one of the characteristics that you can be easily judged about. And lastly, trust. The public servant needs the people's trust, not only because they handle our community, as well as they have the right to do what they want.
1. An often needs to learn. It may sound obvious, but one of the most important qualities for a public servant is to have an enthusiasm and there for new information.
A desire to help others through public administration. The public sector exists to bring services to people, so those working as public servants should have a strong desire to work on behalf of others.
Yung magaling siyang makipag-usap sa tao, tapos they know yung mga pangangailangan ng mga mamamayan nila para umunlad yung community.
A public servant should be confident enough to stand for us, confident enough to speak for us, and to do things na sinabi niyang gagawin niya. Next.
It may sound too religious or spiritual, but I think if we were going to separate things from the spirit or the spiritual aspects, siguro lalo tayo
ay ang pagkakaroon po ng pagkukusa, malasakit po sa kapwa, at ang pagkakaroon ng katangian na hindi ka humihingi ng kapalit sa anumang hirap na ginagawa mo doon sa nasasakupan mo.
Maka-Diyos, makatao, makalikasan at makabansa. Having these four core values in every heart of every public servant, our country will be a peacefully and successful country.
Dapat meron ang magiging susunod na leader sa bansa natin, dapat meron siyang isang salita na hindi lang puro yung kung ano lang yung na sinabi niya tapos babawiin niya.
May simpatya sa lahat. Yung magsusumikap siya upang paunlarin at tulungan ng bawat isa.
Are being mindful of and caring for the underprivileged in society. Next is prioritizing the growth and well-being of individuals and their communities. And lastly, displaying the awareness, empathy, and foresight.
Number 2. How are you going to choose candidates for the positions in our government? Before you going to choose candidates, you should study the campaign, which candidates can be judged into two ways. First, the positions they take on issues. Second, leadership qualities and experiences.
I will search about him if he deserves to win. And as a voter, I will not send in their pure lies or even the money they give for them to be elected in that position.
By their track records, family background, and achievements, of course.
How do you feel in voting for the first time? I am grateful, and it's such an honor for me to vote for our country as a student and as a Filipino citizen. I have my part for our nation as our government contributing to our country's success and growth.
Of course, feeling nervous and excited. Kasi, yung sangguniang kabataan, hindi pa din ako nakakaboto. And sa pangkalahatan, hindi pa din. Yun.
I'm nervous because alam ko na meron akong mga hindi pa alam kung paano bumoto. At the same time, excited kasi alam ko na makakatulong ako. Isa ako sa makakatulong para makapamili na karapat-dapat na leader para sa ating bansa.
I will feel nervous because I might make a mistake, and I may be so nervous that I will be confused about the voting steps.
For SK Sangguniang Kabataan, that was my first experience in voting because that available at my age. Of course, I am happy because I had the experience of voting and scolding this person to be voted.
And I'm excited to vote
next year. When it is said that is an election, it enters my brain that politics, government, law, power, and of course, the case of corruption will not disappear. But we will always remember that we will put a useful politician in this position of the government. So, we must choose a person who is reliable and loyal.
For me as a first-time voter, it would be hard for me to choose candidates for the positions in our government. But for now, the only knowledge that I have is that we shouldn't be swayed to their flowery words and shouldn't accept their bribes.
That my vote is my voice. Because I want to choose the best president and best politician that have cared to our country. Because we also know that Philippines is the corrupt country. Because they running for money, not for people. So please choose the better. Because your vote is important. It will affect to your country, to our community, education, employment, and also our healthcare. So please, think before to vote.
Kung mapili tayo sa mga tao, sa mga buhay natin, sana mapili rin tayo sa mga iluluklok natin sa national elections. So bilang tayo ay parte ng isang demokratikong bansa, sana ang ating kalayaan, ang ating kapangyarihan, ang ating mga karapatan na bumoto, makilahok sa eleksyon ay ating magawa at magampanan bilang isang responsableng mamamayan ng ating bansa. So sa lahat ng mga kabataan na nanonood nito, magparehistro at makilahok sa National Elections 2022. O pwede na ba ako sa COMELEC? Actually, this is just a project, this is just an activity for students para ma-experience nila at madama ang kanilang pagiging Pilipino sa panahong ito na kailangan tayo ng ating bayan, ang bansang Pilipinas. Sana marami pang magparehistro, sana marami pang kabataan na makilahok sa gawain ng ating lipunan.